I'm going to try to recap the introduction to Buttercup's baby and the like how far we got last time. I don't think I'm going to recap the entire book because the rest of it is kind of just almost, I wouldn't say exactly like the movie, but if you know the plot of the movie, then you kind of know. Um, but yeah, so that's the update as far as how the stream is going. Um, three. What did I say? You four, 3 followers away from the goal, and um, new alerts and new chat bot that hopefully won't break this time. So we'll see. Um, Princess Bride. So, okay. Inigo, Fezzik, and Wesley are about to die, and Buttercup is worried, but the trees are lovely. And S. Morgenstern is talking about the trees. Pretty much. That's a very good, um, accurate recap of where we left off. Um, so let's see. In the initial, let me just like glance at it and refresh my memory. So in the initial introduction, he basically says, I wasn't gonna write this, but then I had a grandson, and the grandson read Princess Bride, and now he wants more. So now I have to provide a sequel. And basically, he can't because S. Morgenstern's estate has sued the publishers out the wazoo, and um, he goes off on this. He goes off on a couple of different tangents. So part of it is like I'm not exactly sure which one is most important to recap, but basically he decides that he's going to try and write this thing, but he can't because Stephen King is going to write it, which I guess that's if you're trying to be a writer, um, of all of the writers who could possibly steal your work, I feel like Stephen King is like the one you would want, but also in a way like the big bad at the end. um, so yeah, so he's friends with Stephen King. He goes to his house to convince him not to write this thing, and Stephen King is like, "No, I have to write it. I really like this story." Um, Not that he really likes it, but that he feels um, like loyalty to it, to where he feels like he needs to um, he needs to write it. So they work out a deal, and Goldman is like gonna write the first chapter, and then we'll see how it goes. So in the first chapter, it starts Fezzik dies, which really like, uh, um, but we haven't gotten to that part yet, and it's very time wise, it's all over the place. It starts with Fezzik chasing after the daughter of Buttercup and Wesley, so you know that they make it to safety at some point. But you don't know how, because the next part is a flashback with Inigo, and then after that is I'm getting there, hold on. They are running through the woods trying to escape from Humperdinck. I have passed my bookmark. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Okay. Um, so they've just escaped the castle. They are on the 4 white horses, and Humperdinck is coming for them. Wesley has passed out because the miracle pill like ran out, And Inigo is about to bleed out, so he's also not available to make decisions. And so Fezzik is the one that ends up leading the group and reaches a fork in the road, goes the wrong direction. Buttercup is worried about her. I was going to say prince, but he's not a prince. Wesley is a pirate. So she's worried about her love, her pirate love. And Fezzik, and they got stuck in a wall of trees, which I think might be why. Oh, no. Okay, so the trees are lovely because Morgenstern had purchased an estate and was all about the trees at the time that he wrote it. I think that was what was said. So that's where we are. I was going to go back a little bit just because I felt like there was a lot happening, and then we got a raid, and then it was everything all at once. So I was going to go back a little bit just to kind of put us back into the space, the mindset of the story. I'll go back to Humperdinck, even though we don't like Humperdinck. That's okay. Once he realized they had taken the left turning, Prince Humperdinck knew they were his. He turned to Yellen, the chief enforcer of Florin, a finger to his lips. Yellen raised a hand, and the 50 trailing members of the brute squad slowed. The moon's perfect yellow dusted the thickening trees. Humperdinck could not help but stare at their beauty. Only the trees of Florin could interrupt, however briefly, a blood hunt. Was there any place on earth with such trees, Humperdinck wondered. No. Resoundingly, no. They ranked among the treasures of the universe. During the prince's contemplative moment, Yellen gestured for the brute squad to get into their attack groups. The knifers here, the stranglers there, the crushers in between. The prince rounded the last small turning, and there in front of him, so beautifully framed by the perfect trees, was the death tableau. His weeping runaway bride, the 2 still men on the buckling horse, held there in the arms of the giant. Damn, he told himself, if only I'd brought the royal sketcher. Well, he would just have to hold this in memory. In the prince's world, the world of scourge and pain, there was still great controversy who to initially attack. Should the nearest be selected? Should it be the leader? Clearly Wesley was that, but at the moment a frail one at best. And the other still man must have had power, since he had killed Rugen, not the easiest task. It was standard to leave the women for last. They were not expert at blood. They also whimpered and looked to the heavens for escape. Always good for chuckles around future campfires. Leaving the giant. The prince unsheathed his bow, selected his sharpest metal tip, made the insertion. He was a great archer, but at night, with moonlight and shadow, he was a good deal more. He had not missed a night kill in ever so long. An inhale for balance, a final smile to the trees, then the pull back, the release, and the arrow was on its straight way. The prince held his breath until he saw the arrow rip the cloth of the giant at the heart site. The giant cried out loud in shock and fell backward off his horse. As he fell, Yellen led the brute charge, and the battle of the trees, brief though it was on. The 50 brutes, at full cry, charging the 3 men lying sprawled on the ground, the lone woman trying to somehow hold them all in her arms. As her attackers came eyeball close, Buttercup had this thought. If she had to die, what better way existed than with her true love in her arms, and the beauty of her beloved Florinese trees covering her with their branches. Even as a child, nothing pleased her more than the glorious trees at the bottom of her farm, and when her chores for the day were done, that is where she went to wander so happily. What peace they gave, and they would continue to give that peace to her fellow Florinese forever, and... Time out. Can you believe that last paragraph? Buttercup's about to die, and she thinks of foliage? Horrible. Horrible. So, do not hold your breath waiting for the stupid battle of the trees. I went nuts when I first read this. I'm like you, probably, zooming happily along, and Morgenstern was clearly a master of narrative. But right now I bet you're wondering this. What happened? My God, Fezzik is shot in the heart, the 2 other guys drifting away, Buttercup trying to hold it all together while these 50 armed brutes come charging in. We all want to know what happened, right? Here's what you're not reading. 65 pages on Florinese trees, their history and importance. Morgenstern had already started, if you noticed. Just when he realizes he's got them, Prince Humperdinck does an entire dumb paragraph about trees. Even his Florinese publishers begged him to cut it. So I don't care what grief those Morgenstern whizzes at Columbia give me. If ever anything needed getting rid of, it was this. Want to know why he put it in? It actually has to do with The Princess Bride, or rather, its success in Florin. Morgenstern was suddenly flush, so he went right out and bought this country house that was off by itself and abutted this huge government-owned forest preserve. He was, indeed, master of all he surveyed. However, he had been misinformed. This lumber company had title, and not long after he moved in, guess what? They began sawing down all these trees. Morgenstern went nuts. He really did. His entire correspondence with the lumber company is right there in the Morgenstern Museum, just to the left off Florence Square. He couldn't make them stop, and in a year or 2 his house was all naked and alone and kind of dumb-looking, so he sold it at a loss, which just killed him, and moved back into town. But from then on, he became the country's best-known tree savior. He had his eye on another country place, it turns out, similarly secluded, and he wouldn't buy it until he felt he was safe from the lumber interests. So what he did here in Buttercup's Baby was carefully build this huge suspense moment, confident that his readers would have to read his tree essay in order to find out who lived and who died. Briefly now, in terms of narrative, this is what you found out. A. Fezzik survived Humperdinck's metal-tipped arrow because of Miracle Max's Holocaust cloak, which Fezzik kept tucked inside his tunic, and the folds of it blunted the arrow's impact, saving his life. B. The pirates from the ship Revenge were hiding in the trees, so when the brutes were about to slaughter our quartet, they rained down on them like rage from heaven, and took care of them all in just a couple of minutes. And when Humperdinck and Yellen saw this, they both fled. Then, C. The pirates, headed by Pierre, their number 1 guy, and next in line to become the Dread Pirate Roberts, took the 4 and scooted out to the Revenge with them, hoping everyone would be alive when they all got there. Time back in. Alright, I'm going to pause there. I was half hoping that the pirates would jump in, but I was also half hoping that there would be some other way, because I felt like the pirates was, maybe too easy, a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina. But honestly, they were written, the way that it was written was just so, there's nowhere else to go. They're in a dead end. They've got the brute squad, 50 brutes behind them. They've got a master hunter. And 2 of them are, half conscious. So there really kind of was nowhere else to go, but I was sort of hoping it was something other than the pirates. But I also kind of hoped it was the pirates because I sort of wanted to be right. So I feel like I don't know if I should be disappointed or excited. But it is what it is. The pirates came. As soon as the 4 were safely aboard, Pierre signaled for the anchor raising, and the great pirate ship Revenge slipped through the waters of Florin Channel toward open sea. A snap of his fingers brought the blood clogger, who set to work on Inigo, while Pierre himself, chief medico and second in command, turned his attention to Wesley, or as he was known on the ship, the Dread Pirate Roberts. Fezzik and Buttercup stood close by. Buttercup could not stop trembling, so she reached out, tried to hold Fezzik's hand, realized the size discrepancy, held his thumb instead. Excited, the original end had a bit of a cynical note, and the pirates changed that. Oh, that's true. There were, you mean the original end in, the book proper, where there's, 3 different options, and it's sort of choose the one you like the best, we don't really know. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And it did end very, life's not fair, we can't do anything about it. So it is always nice to have that, like, I'm hoping against hope for something, and then the pirates swoop in and save the day. So you're like, yeah, okay, I'll go with excited, not disappointed. Hi there. Thanks for joining our book club. If you'd like to join the conversation, I would love it if you would leave us a comment. And if you'd like to see more, check out the playlist.